The business takeover, a strategic move. Nathan had spent years mastering the art of acquiring and scaling businesses. Unlike most entrepreneurs who built from the ground up, he understood that the real wealth wasn't in starting a company. It was in buying one, optimizing it, and then selling it for a much higher valuation. One afternoon, he sat across from an exhausted business owner named Daniel. They met at a quiet cafe, away from the distractions of ringing phones and urgent emails. Daniel had built his marketing agency from scratch, working long hours, closing deals, and personally handling every client relationship. On the surface, it was a thriving business, generating healthy profits. But under the surface, Nathan saw what others didn't. This business was unsellable in its current state. Nathan leaned forward, stirring his coffee. "Daniel, you've built something incredible. But let's be honest. Without you, this business doesn't function." Daniel sighed, rubbing his temples. "I know," he admitted. "I handle all the operations, manage all the client relationships. Without me, there is no business." "And that's exactly why no one has bought it yet," Nathan said. "The problem isn't your revenue or your clients, it's you. Right now, you don't have a business. You have a job." Daniel nodded slowly, realizing the harsh truth. He had been so consumed with keeping things running that he never thought about how the company would function without him. "So what are you saying? That I can't sell it?" Nathan smirked. "Not as it is. But that doesn't mean we can't fix it." The deal structure. Nathan laid out his strategy. He wouldn't pay the full amount up front. Instead, he proposed an earn-out deal, half the payment at closing and the remaining half in 90 days. However, there was one condition. Daniel had to train a general manager to replace him. If he failed to do so, the timeline would extend another 90 days. "You don't just get to walk away," Nathan explained. "You need to make sure this company runs without you. Otherwise, it's worthless." Daniel hesitated, but ultimately agreed. Over the next 3 months, he worked to groom a successor. It wasn't easy. He had to transfer years of knowledge, introduce the new GM to clients, and document processes that had only existed in his head. But as time passed, something shifted. Daniel started seeing his company differently. It wasn't just a personal project anymore, it was an asset. At the end of 90 days, Daniel handed over the keys both literally and figuratively. He shook Nathan's hand, this time with a sense of pride. He wasn't just selling a business, he was leaving a legacy, scaling the empire. For Nathan, this was just the beginning. The marketing agency was only one piece of a much larger puzzle. He had also acquired CPA firms, staffing agencies, and even an education company that taught entrepreneurs how to scale businesses. Each acquisition fed into the other, creating a machine that ran with precision. His business model was simple but powerful. His students learned how to buy businesses. They needed CPAs to evaluate deals, so he bought a CPA firm. They needed help hiring employees, so he bought staffing agencies. They needed marketing, so he bought an agency. It was a self-sustaining ecosystem, and Nathan was at the center of it. But he wasn't stopping there. Going public. Once his companies hit $10 million in EBITDA, Nathan knew what came next: going public. He had seen others hesitate, fearing the loss of control, but he understood something they didn't. Going public wasn't about losing control. It was about leveraging capital at massive multiples. "When you IPO, you're playing a different game," he explained to his inner circle. "You're no longer using your own money to buy businesses. You're using investor capital, and that capital is valued at 15, sometimes 20 times EBITDA. You take that money, buy businesses at 5 times EBITDA, and scale them up. That's real leverage." The day finally arrived. Nathan stood in front of a cheering crowd at the stock exchange. Cameras flashed, reporters asked questions, and investors lined up, eager to own a piece of the empire he had built. As he rang the bell, he took a deep breath. He had done what so many entrepreneurs failed to do. He had turned businesses into assets and assets into wealth. And the best part? This was just the beginning. The end.